Welcome back to the workshop, folks. Today, we're at it again.
Yeah, today we are putting our two biggest, baddest sharpeners in a head-to-head to see which one comes out on top.
We did this test before 2 years ago with two older sharpeners, but we're back at it with the best. Let's introduce our competitors.
In the left corner, lightning fast and ridiculously versatile, the Ken Onion Elite Mark II. This powered beast can tackle just about any edge you throw at it. And in the right corner, you can't rush perfection, the Professional Precision Adjust Elite. Full metal construction, an insane range of grits, and resin-bonded diamond stone for mirror-polished razor edges.
This crowd is electric and ready to see how this showdown is going to shake out, Josh.
I hope that you guys are as excited as they are, and we are, about what we've got today. So, we're going to be sharpening two different knives.
Yep, we're going to start with a kitchen knife. These are identical knives. We're going to sharpen them to a 15-degree angle. It's a nice steep angle, great for slicing tomatoes, any kind of work you'd be doing in the kitchen. You want a nice sharp, razor sharp edge.
Next up, we'll be sharpening a pocket knife, a little bit more of a working edge, 20 degrees. And we're going to put that working or toothy edge on it. That should be a little bit faster, but give you an idea of how sharpening a knife for everyday carry might stack up.
Exactly. And then we've got some categories how we're going to test these. Josh, you want to go over those?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at versatility of the sharpener, what it can sharpen, where it can sharpen, how it sharpens, the speed, how long does it take, the ultimate sharpness, how sharp does it get these knives, and finally the edge finish. We're going to look at these under the digital microscope, give you guys some pretty pictures to look at, better than the human eye can see.
Yep. You guys should know that we have taken both of these knives and thoroughly dulled them. We've done just some extreme measures to make sure that we're starting with some dull knives so you can see the edges that these sharpeners can truly create.
This is not a tutorial or a how-to video. We've got a bunch of those teaching you how to use these sharpeners, but we will show some of the process and we'll talk through what we do to create the results that we're going to create.
Yep, now the only thing left to do is figure out who gets what sharpener.
All right.
Let's flip a coin. That's not a coin.
Well, I didn't have a coin, but this is one of the abrasives from a rolling knife sharpener. So, do you want heads, diamonds, or tails?
Whatever that is. I'll take the diamond side.
Diamond, heads.
Let's go.
You got it.
Yes, sir.
Heads.
I'm going with my Pro PA Elite over here, buddy. That's my baby.
I knew you would.
Yep.
I knew you would. And I'm not sad about that. I love the Ken Onion Mark II. Let's get to work.
Let's do it.
Round one, fight!
With the kitchen knife, I didn't hold back. I went through every grit on the Ken Onion Elite, from the coarse 220 to get a burr on both sides, an even bevel, and then progressed that through X65, X22, X4, and at the X4, that white belt, I really spent a lot of time. I tried to make sure I got all the previous striations out. It took me a little bit longer than I expected, but really happy with how it turned out.
Honestly, it took a lot longer than I thought he would. He knew he had the time, so he was like really taking his time on that kitchen knife because he knows that precision adjust is going to put a wicked sharp edge on there, and I think he just wants to compete. I don't think he's going to get close. He just doesn't want to, you know, get beat too bad. So he took a lot more time on that thing. We'll see if it pays off for him. I don't think it's gonna. I think he should have just blasted through there and saved himself the trouble.
You got a burr yet?
No, not at 15 degrees. For the kitchen knife, I was looking for like a really refined edge, obviously, so I went through every grit. I tried to skip the 220 and just started at the 320. I mean, we had to reprofile to a 15 degree. Found myself taking longer on that 320 than I probably needed to, but I was trying to avoid doing like deep scratches that'd be harder to get out later. But once you got the bevel set and you got your burr formed, it's just refining the edge after that, man. It's kind of like downhill. It just takes a little bit of time, and the results I think are gonna speak for themselves, man.
I moved on to the 12,000 grit, which is that ribbon, and finally the cotton belt with the compound. At the end of it, I felt like it was super sharp. It's more polished than I usually take a knife. Dude, the guy was just over there wrenching on it and moving the whole table. So yeah, I would say I was a little thrown off about sharpening, but I think I was able to kind of set that aside and make it work.
Yeah, I'm a dad of 2 little girls, so my training regimen is non-existent. So that sweat was just pure out of shape. trying to use a manual sharpener that wouldn't get a burr and trying to do it fast for the competition. Otherwise, I'd probably be just chilling with some whiskey and watching TV and letting it happen a little more slowly. But hey, we're competing here, so I was sawing away.
It felt really good to be putting on the last belt for the kitchen knife and look over and Kyle was just forming a burr. That felt really good.
The biggest thing when you're using the Pro PA is you want to keep the surface clean for a couple reasons. One, you just see what you're doing better. Two, if you're pulling off diamonds for whatever reason, like I was sawing pretty hard, those diamonds can actually pop off the plates sometimes, and you don't want those to contaminate the next grit down because they can gouge in and leave some deep scratches on your surface. So keep it clean and the results will be better for it. So. But I wasn't paying that much attention, man. I was locked in, but pretty sure he's reading a book on sharpening, which will probably be helpful to him because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna smoke him.
I was reading about sharpening chisels and knives and garden tools of all sorts, pizza cutters. I think I disagree a little bit with the recommendations made, but just for pizza cutters. For the most part, lines up. Some people like to test on the hair of their arm. The author didn't condone that due to safety reasons, but validated my standard check, which is the back of the thumbnail check for sharpness, and included test for chisel, which is shaving end grain off of wood.
Pocket knife was really straightforward. Again, man, getting the new edge on that, I think I had to do a lot more work than I thought I was gonna have to, putting that 20-degree edge on there. But once we got that burr formed, again, I just went from the 220, I jumped all the way to 800. I think it's gonna leave a real toothy edge. My only fear there is I don't know how it's gonna score for sharpness, but I think it's gonna be a super workable edge. I wish we were doing more like cut tests and stuff like that, but we'll see how it shakes out. I think it's gonna be good.
Hopefully this is a fair fight. I think he's gonna beat me on sharpness, but at least I've got some reading in. All right, what are your initial thoughts after spending some time sharpening?
Yeah, man, it took me a while. Going to 15 took a little bit of a reprofile on the kitchen knife, and then going through every grit for me took longer than I wanted it to with the whole speed thing. I'm gonna get smoked there. Again, pocket knife killed me, dude. I couldn't get a burr on it for whatever reason. It took me a long time. I'm gonna get smoked.
This knife is M390.
Yep.
I had the same thoughts. Was happy. I spent way more time than I've ever spent sharpening a knife on this, about 20 minutes. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the results, but honestly, if I'm gonna spend the time, I was thinking to myself, like, man, the Pro PA will probably create a better edge. But we haven't tested anything. We don't know that yet.
Right.
And yeah, that pocket knife, dude, M390 is a bear.
Yeah, and I think we can get into a little bit of our hypothesis before we get into the testing. Like, obviously, I think you're going to be faster. Versatility, I'm ready to debate you a little bit there. But again, I think I'm going to be sharper than you. We'll see. That's kind of where I'm thinking is like, you're going to be quicker. I'm going to be sharper. We'll see what happens.
Yep. I think that's probably true. I'd be shocked if it was anything else, but like how much faster and how much sharper, that's I think what we have to find out.
Yep.
Okay, so roll right into it. It took me about 19 minutes to sharpen the kitchen knife. That was like the full everything, every single belt, every single abrasive. I spent extra time trying to really create some polish there.
I couldn't believe how much time you put into it. You put some extra time. It shouldn't take that long normally. So Josh is going for a win here for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I figured I had some time because I know how long it's going to take. If I'm sharpening a normal kitchen knife, it's like 6 or 7 minutes. Right. And I spent 19. How long was your kitchen knife?
I don't even, Shane over there behind the camera, what did I come in at?
You're about 30.
30 minutes on this thing. I believe it. It felt like it took forever. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yep. Okay. So speed. And then this was about 5 minutes for me on the pocket knife, which honestly, that took me longer than expected with M390 as the steel.
Yeah, I skipped some steps here, but just getting the burr on this probably took me at least 5 minutes. I'm guessing I was probably, 15, 20 minutes into this thing? Yeah, so again, smoked me, even taking your time. That's the faster one.
Yep.
Check mark.
Okay, versatility. We talked about this. There's a little bit of a debate here. Anything that you can take an edge and come in contact with that belt, you can sharpen on the Ken Onion. So I think it's more versatile. You can grind a spine down if you want. If you've got a bushcraft knife that you're looking for that sharp spine, you can do some tip repair. You know, you can go backwards and kind of get that standard drop point curve down if you're looking to repair a tip. Plenty of options, lots you can do, but I think I know where you're gonna go with this. There's definitely one element that the Pro PA is gonna win.
Yeah, man, you gotta have power. And if you don't have power, you just have yourself a paperweight sitting over there, man. So Pro PA wins for me in that one. Also, like, we're building on this platform of the Pro PA in a way that you can get the stones you want. So I thought you were gonna come at me with like, I can do recurves and I can do this stuff, but like with that universal handle that we have, I can get rounded stones and I can do recurves and I can custom make this thing to where I want. Is it a little more investment? Yes, but we're just talking about versatility here. And I can get pretty versatile with my Pro PA, buddy.
Okay, who gets the check mark for versatility?
You do. I had a good argument, but yeah, you can do way too much with that thing.
I think
way
that's
too
true.
Easily. I mean, you got shovels, big tools, you name it. The axes, like.
What did he say?
Yeah, you ask that question of anyone who's like running a business or making money sharpening knives, either farmers markets or, you know, home shops. We know guys who will have, you know, 2, 3, 4 of these set up, so they never have to do belt changes. They don't run the Pro PA, they run these. And I think that's because they need to be able to sharpen anything that people bring up.
And it gets freaking sharp, dude. Like,
yeah, it does.
We'll see some discrepancy, but it's still super sharp, so. Versatility.
Versatility. All right.
Next up is edge finish, guys. We're gonna look at these knives under the digital microscope, get a real close look at how the edges came out. First one up is Josh's kitchen knife. Again, we sharpen these at 15 degrees. Josh using the KO2. What do you think, man?
I'm impressed. Higher polish than I expected, and I got to give that credit probably to spending a lot of time on that white belt. That kind of transition between it has some abrasive grit in it. It could probably sharpen, remove material, so it's smoothing things out, but it's not really removing a lot of material. It's not creating any real deep scratches, so it's able to be buffed out with those 2 finer belts that are really just those polishing belts. Yeah, man, there's some sections in there that are just really fine. A little bit of, I mean, what we see, there's a couple of like diagonal scratches through there. I don't really know what's causing that. Maybe something after we sharpened. And then we get a little bit of haze at the very top, but of the bevel and the transition at that shoulder. But that's kind of what I expected with a sharpener like this on a convex belt.
Yeah, not much more to add, man. Can't believe, this is probably the best belt sharpened edge I've seen as far as refining an edge to like almost a polished edge. So well done, dude.
Thanks. Wow, okay, this is your kitchen knife sharpened on the Pro PA. The bevel height is taller.
Yep.
I think we kind of knew that, but it's really hard to see. I mean, you could see a little bit of that with the naked eye, but I might have been cheating it a little bit, up a little bit steep, not quite at 15. That is fine.
Yeah, it's a clean edge. I would expected it to be a little more polished. Like to the naked eye, my knife for sure looks more polished than yours does, but under the microscope, it just pulls out all those little striations. I could have spent more time on the finer grits, but bro, we would have been here forever. So I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna be sharp as you know what, and can't wait to see how it comes out.
Yeah, I think that it's a cleaner edge. That edge looks sharper than the edge created on the Canonian.
I'm curious to see how we're gonna score this one. We could get into a little debate because naked eye, I win. Under the microscope, dude, I think you might have me. So let's see what happens with the pocket knives. All right, next we've got Josh's folding knife, sharpened on the KO2. Again, we were going for a working edge here, so I'm not expecting to see beautiful edges. Yours is actually a little more refined than I expected to see. What are you seeing, man?
Yeah, so when I sharpened it, I ended up just using the 120 and the 12,000, and spent a bit of time on the 12,000 because I wanted to make sure I got rid of that burr, which was just hanging on there on that M390. So for the most part, I got rid of it, but I still left some teeth in there. I expected to see more of those teeth on the actual edge, maybe a little more jaggedy, and I'm not seeing that. So I took away a lot of those teeth and that burr, but I'm hopeful that it performs well. I don't really care what my working edge looks like under the digital microscope, and so like, okay, this is cool, it's interesting. I thought there'd be more teeth, but from an edge finish standpoint, like, that doesn't really matter. It's even, it's consistent. That's really all I'm looking for.
Yeah, it'll cut just fine for sure.
All right, next up is Kyle's knife, the pocket knife under the dyno light. Kyle, I think it looks great for a working edge. What are you seeing?
Yeah, man, I thought that 220 would leave a lot deeper grooves that would be like more for like sawing and chewing through materials like cardboard and stuff like that. It's there, but that 800 took more of it away than I expected. So if I were to do it over again, I might jump to a 600 and see what it looks like, but not mad about this. It's gonna perform great. It's got a little burr on there that'll fall off while you use the knife. It's a good working edge, can't complain.
Yeah, looks nice. The Pro PA always leaves super clean like transition lines between the primary face or the primary grind and the bevel.
Yep.
And real consistent you know, scratches all the way through. So it looks nice. Looks good to the naked eye. Has a nice satin finish. How do we decide, man? So looking at these with the naked eye, definitely looks like the Professional Precision Adjust takes the cake.
It just makes such crisp bevels, dude. So I lean that way, although like your knife that you did, the whatever recipe you used to get the edge on that kitchen knife is so clean. I never expected to see that out of that. So tip of the hat, but I still think the Pro PA wins out.
I think you're right if I admit it. And even then, I know you spent almost twice as long as I did.
Yeah.
But I've seen the results, and I know what the Pro PA can create if you really want to sit down and spend an evening on your cherished knife. And that's a kitchen knife. That's a lot of blade length there.
Yeah.
If you want to go put a super nice edge on a pocket knife, it's going to be a little faster.
Yep.
Although M390 definitely handed it to us today.
They really did.
But yeah, Pro PA wins for edge finish. Yeah, check out some of these bevels. They're just incredible.
Yep.
But close runner up. And the secret, spend a bunch of time, use that white belt, and you can create some beautiful edges.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's put these knives to the test and see how they cut, dude.
Yeah, sharpness.
Let's get it.
All right, last but not least is sharpness testing. Feels like this is all it comes down to, but it really is only one factor. All of these knives are sharp, and we'll prove that to you. Okay, the way we do it, we'll score on the Bess Tester, the Edge On Up tester. We're gonna take the 3 scores, we're gonna average them. Feels like it's the most fair way to do it. There's ways to kind of game this system. We try to be honest about it, and it's really just about comparing all the knives that we have on the table to each other, rather than comparing it to like everything else out there. We won't get into that, another episode. All right, starting with the kitchen knife on the KO2.
3 cuts, average them out. Low score is what we're looking for. Double digits is insanely sharp. What else? We got like, what, 200s still really sharp?
200's a sharp
400s like factory. Your first cut on the KO2 kitchen knife is a 201. Second cut on the KO2 knife, 194. Third cut for our final average, 174.
Next up, the kitchen knife sharpened on the Professional Precision Adjust Elite. I think this is going to be the sharpest knife we've seen.
201.
Second cut, 150. All right, third cut on the Pro PA kitchen knife, 106.
Woo!
That is sharp.
That's crazy.
Freakishly sharp.
Josh's pocket knife, sharpened on the KO2, cut number 1.
Be kind.
279.
It's a good working edge.
That's a great working edge. All right, cut number 2. 299. Let's see if you did a little better back towards the heel. 152. You did do better back towards the heel.
All right, first cut on
baby.
the working edge on the Pro PA for a pocket knife. 127.
That's crazy sharp for a working edge. Maybe I'm just doing way too many grits. I need to just start going.
Is that sharper than the? That's sharper.
I think that was sharper than my kitchen knife, man. That's crazy.
And you skipped all of them. Second cut.
Well,
159.
159. I'm done going through all the grits.
Third cut. 137.
Dang, dude, that thing is sharp. All right, we got our scores, guys, and they were kind of surprising.
The pocket knife sharpened on the Pro PA.
Insanely sharp for some reason.
Insanely sharp. And we're like, I should have flipped it up, but this was the sharpest knife that we had. So 141. Wildly sharp.
Dude.
You said that you sharpened this with
220, 800, and then like hit it on the strop to get the burr off. And I can't believe how it came. I didn't expect that.
Yep, that's wild. It has a great edge finish. It's not a mirror polish by any means, but it's got a real nice satin finish. and scored 141. Best score we've got.
I might start sharpening all my pocket knives like that, dude. Seriously.
Be a lot faster. Yep. Okay, next is the pocket knife sharpener on the KO Elite. This was a pretty fast sharpening process. Also, it scored 243.
Still.
That's a bit, like that's super sharp. Factory's 400, so this is sharp for a working edge. Super sharp, scary. But more in the lines of what I would have expected. Like that's a pretty sharp edge.
That's where I thought that one would have been too, to be honest with you.
Yep. Okay, next, the Pro-Pied kitchen knife. This could have been the sharpest knife. That's what I thought, but it didn't edge out the pocket knife for some reason. So ended up scoring a 152, which puts it squarely in second place after the pocket knife on the precision adjust. So we've got kind of first place is the pocket knife, second place is the kitchen knife on the Pro-Pied. Thought those were going to be flipped. The Canonian kitchen knife came in at 189, which is just slightly duller or not quite as sharp as the Pro-Pied kitchen knife. So yeah, 189. So Canonian at the bottom of the stack here, Pro-Pied at the top of the stack. Pretty easy to decide who is the winner.
It's what we thought was going to happen anyway. There was some surprising results in there. That pocket knife blew my mind, but that's why we do this. Okay, next up, we are actually going to do some cutting with these knives. We're going to start with the paper test, and we're going to roll right into the tomato cuts. One thing when it comes to a paper test, we're not just looking to just slice paper, and if it slices through easily, it's sharp. You want to start from the heel and work your way towards the tip and feel if you get hung up on anything. Josh, explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so as I'm cutting, the paper is kind of giving me some feedback. It's either slicing super clean, or it's tearing a little bit, or yeah, if I'm working through that full blade, I'm going to feel different points in time where it catches or hangs up. So yeah, let's see. This one was the dullest knife. Obviously cutting paper all the way through. If I come in just at the tip, I'm still sharp there, but I'm noticing I am getting a little bit of tearing. Okay. It's some of those teeth.
You can hear it kind of like as it rips through there with those teeth.
Yeah, this is thin paper. It's definitely cutting that. It will cut. It's sharp.
Yep.
But it's telling me that there's definitely some teeth on that blade, which is kind of what I wanted.
Maybe even a little bit of burr left too. I don't know.
Could be a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Yep. On the tomato. If I'll
bet it bites right in. Yep.
It took a little bit of time to bite in, actually. So I'm a little surprised. I'm curious if
toothiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it scored well enough that, like, obviously any knife from the factory should just blow right through a tomato edge.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's sharp, but my bite knife, you know, you saw how it scored on the Bess Tester. It's going to smoke that.
Yeah, I would. I'm a little surprised. But cutting tomatoes, fine. These are actually fairly soft. Those are great ones for testing.
Okay.
These are a little bit more firm.
Nice work, Shane.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There
On a firm tomato, it makes it nice and easy, but it should. Any sharp knife should. Okay, next up, we're gonna go straight to the sharpest knife.
I was talking trash. Let's see how this shakes out for us.
Let's see how it goes. Some of that, oh yeah. So you can see the difference, you can feel the difference. A little bit of hang up right there, but.
Yeah, don't go to the heel. That's where I couldn't get my burr.
Well, that's a great example even. Yep. So you get a little bit more of that tearing at the heel, but and then it just starts to fall through. Easy for me to turn that knife as I'm going.
And you'll see as he gets towards the heel, if he cuts that way, it'll start to tear. That's where I had a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it isn't actually biting in there.
And then you get up towards the belly and it'll just rip right through there.
Yep, all the way up to the tip. Super sharp. Okay, so how does super sharp compare on a tomato? That that does bite right in. There we go. Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly what you want to see. I mean, we're cutting tomatoes with pocket knives, but if I can get just a tiny sliver.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, super fine. That is a sharp knife.
That one goes to the Pro-Pied, in my opinion, for the pocket knives.
For the pocket knives.
All right.
I think you did.
Part
of me wonders about that convex part. There's a lot of things that I could wonder about here, and maybe that's a whole video for a separate episode. But you know, that flat versus convex, how does that performance feel? We might have an edge that's a little bit more robust on a convex.
Sure.
Just a theory.
Sounds like another video.
Here's the Ken Onion Mark II, the kitchen knife. So again, coming in second place or third place, I guess.
That's sharp, dude.
That is effortless.
Yep.
It feels like a little bit more catchy than what I just was using, but all the way through.
Yeah, give me that heel.
Especially looking at that heel.
Jeez, man. That's clean all the way through. And that's the one thing about the KO too, is it's so easy to like consistently sharpen across that edge quickly.
Yep. And yeah,
dude.
like weight of the knife, that's just setting.
Yeah, I get that 15 degrees too helps so much just with that sliciness.
Yep. And this is what it's designed to do is
exactly.
Is cut veggies, cut tomatoes, so yeah.
We're there.
Yep, super sharp. Okay, finally, and what was supposed to be the sharpest knife.
Yep.
Start at the heel. Oh. Yeah, all the way through.
No hang-ups?
No hang-ups.
Nice.
I can twist that. Oh.
Ooh.
Maybe we got something.
I thought there was I thought I heard a clunk. That's why I was like, no hang-ups, because I thought I heard something right about here.
There's a little bit of something right in that.
Right there.
Kind of the belly of that, although there's no real belly.
Just another great example of why the paper cut test is so good when you do it right. Like you can find little spots where it might need a little more work.
Yep.
Which a strap would probably get that.
Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, super, super sharp. Obviously, like, I mean, we're talking about stuff that's just, it's going to cut through any paper.
Splitting hairs.
Easy. See what you did. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
okay.
it wanted to slide, but it's super sharp. It's just this nice
there it goes.
tomato.
Yep.
There's no hang up there all the way through. That tomato is not under stress when it's being cut.
All right. Well, you're doing the cutting on this one. I don't think it's a clear winner on this, so I'm gonna let you determine who won the kitchen knives, because you're running them.
In some ways, I like the edge that the Ken Onion put on it, but it was still a little bit toothier on the paper, strangely. So if I went back to that, now I'm all gummed up with tomato juice, but yeah, that cut versus, yeah, I think I got a little, just has a little bit more teeth in it, a little bit more tear. That was a little bit smooth. If I'm going for that ultimate kitchen edge sharpness, super fine, I'm gonna go Pro PA.
Yep. Cool. Pro PA takes that one.
So where does that leave us? Pro PA gets an overall sharpness.
Yep.
Pro PA gets the edge finish, barely.
Yep. Surprisingly close.
Yep. Open for your interpretation. And then similarly, the Ken Onion, on the other hand, gets the speed factor and the versatility, although that is a narrow victory as well if you consider you need electricity for it.
All right, Josh. So who won?
Man, okay, so if we just go with the 4 categories, it was 2 and 2. That's a tie, but that's not, I don't like anything like that. We brought this as a head-to-head matchup, so we got to give away, like, we got to choose a winner. We had 3 different cut tests as a challenge. We had the best, we had the tomatoes, we had the paper. If we keep those separate and we like treat those each as individual categories, then Pro PA took every single one of those.
That's right, it did.
I also think that with what you learned on the Pro PA and sharpening that pocket knife with only 2 abrasives and a strop, that cuts your time way down, and it would make it really competitive with the time spent on the Ken Onion. You could also take less time on the Ken Onion, but it means that you can get the knife to the desired level of sharpness faster. I think that's really important. So if we had to give it to one, Pro PA Elite, but I could say maybe the Pro PA because you don't need the entire kit every single time. But if you want edge finish,
it's always going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close. I'm sure some of you guys will have different opinions. Let us know down in the comments.
Oh, we love the comments.
I'll be in there. So you're talking to me. I'll be in there. We'll talk it out. And let us know what we should do different next time, right?
Yep, we want to know.
Yep, for sure. Get in there. Let us know. Thanks for watching, you guys. Appreciate it.